To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so today we're back at the tiny house build. I used to say that when I was building the tiny house. No, actually today we're going to work on the porch roof, and I'm going to start concreting the post of the porch roof in a bucket. The buckets is just a temporary solution to so I don't have to dig holes into the ground. If you come over here, I can't even dig a hole. Oh, I'm going to scare the cat away because I got concrete. I'm going to use the buckets with concrete in it as an anchor. What I've done now is I've marked it off approximately where I think I need it. I've marked it off longer than I think I need it. That way it's easier to cut than it is to add material. This will go inside the bucket with concrete. The 2x4 I'm going to make into a 4x4. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take this top piece here and I'm going to sandwich it right here. I'll just screw it in so it'll be a 4x4 at that point. Now, I'm not going to put a 4x4 into the concrete. I'll just put a 2x4. And then when the concrete sets, then I can put my other 2x4 up against it. And so the second 2x4 will lay basically on top of the concrete. Then what I'll have to do is I'll have to cut this board here off the porch, and then I'm going to set that up against this and screw it into that. The concrete will keep it pretty sturdy, but then this will keep it from swaying and falling over, and that'll also help support the porch a little better. The porch is built on a trailer frame, so you can feel it bouncing around a little bit. Once I get this supported on these beams here on this post, that bounce should go away. I got to cut this board. I'm going to put the board in this bucket, fill it up with concrete. Now this concrete's pretty nice. Fast setting concrete mix, Quickcrete. It says right here, sets post without mixing. Now if you're going to do a slab or something, you do have to mix it. But with this, you just pour the concrete in your post hole, or your bucket in this case. You put your beam in it, your post, and then you just pour about a gallon of water in it. It says until saturated. It sets up in about 4 hours. Now the thing is, you got to make sure everything's all level. So even before I start, I got to make sure the bucket is level. So I'm going to do it up here on the porch because the porch is level. Then I'm going to set the post in here, pour the concrete mix in it. Then I'm going to level my board. I'll have to level my board this way and this way. And then I'm going to have to set little bracings here so the board doesn't move around. Then I'll pour my water and just let it set. So I'm going to use Carolyn's little Black & Decker battery operated 20 volt circular saw. I know I've gotten a lot of criticism for it, but since she's gotten this, I've used it a lot. I really like this saw. A lot of people said it doesn't have enough power, but if you're just doing small little projects like this thing's fine. Carolyn's cut all the pallet wood in that she put on the walls in the house. If you've seen previous videos, you've seen that. And then I use it all the time. Cuts 2x4s. The only thing is you just got to go slow. And I think a lot of people just get in a hurry and they didn't like it. Easy to charge, lightweight. Don't need the generator, because I would have to have the generator to use my regular circular saw. This is a very inexpensive. I can't remember what it cost, but it's like, I don't know, 50 bucks, 60 bucks. It was pretty inexpensive. You can get better saw blades. You can get extra batteries if you want. Now, one of the problems I'm having is I don't have any place to really put this long board. So I put it across my bridge here. Over here, it'll fall onto my tank, my water tank. So that's okay, but over here it's going to fall on the ground. So I need to try to hold it. Okay, so the next step is I got to level this board out. Now I'm going to use the concrete mix and boards to help my stability of that. So what I'll do is I'll put a board here and a board here. And then I can try to level it up a bit. Pour some concrete in it, try to hold it in place. So now you'll see that I got my board up I got 2 boards attached to it, and the concrete has been poured in. Now, I did make a mistake. I wanted to try to get the board as center as possible inside the bucket. The first attempt I made, it wasn't center. So all I had to do was take the board out, put it into a new bucket, and then just take the concrete that I already poured back into this bucket. Pretty simple. This has been a pretty easy project. The hardest thing is trying to hold the board and keep it level while you're screwing all this in and getting the concrete poured in. The concrete actually holds it in pretty good. Now, one of the things I did before I started this project was I Googled how much concrete do I need for a 5-gallon bucket, and it said a 50-pound bag. Well, this is a 50-pound bag right here, but it only came up to about right here. But that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. What I'll do is, after all this is done, I'll just cut the bucket off. I don't really need it anyways. The bucket could actually just come off. I don't need the bucket. I just need it to hold the form until I'm done with it. So now all I got to do is just pour the water in. Okay, now once the concrete sets and I get the post in there, I was telling you how I was going to make a 4x4. So essentially what I'll do is, now that once the concrete settled, I can just set this board right on top of the concrete and screw this board onto the other board. That way, this board has support on the concrete. This board here is being supported in all directions. Now, the other thing is I may not even come down to this level. I was thinking maybe I could just bring the 4x4 down to the porch height right here. I'm going to look at this a little bit better tomorrow after I get it all put up. Okay, something I didn't think about, but concrete will release water as it's drying, so the water will bubble to the top. And so you can see here in the bucket, I got a layer of water up here. So what I decided to do, since it won't drain off and it'll take forever to evaporate off, is I drilled a couple holes in my bucket here so it can run off on its own. Simulating like if the post was in a ground, the water would run off into the ground. Okay, so I've got all 4 posts in the buckets in concrete. Concrete is drying. I tell you, I'm not too sure I'm a big fan of this. Pour the concrete mix in and then dump the water on top of it without mixing it. I mean, the instructions clearly said it, and it advertises on the front of the package, but I'm not too sure about this. It's cracking, and if you put your finger down in it, it feels like powder still. I don't know. It may work out. I mean, Quikrete is a very reputable company, so I'm sure they know what they're doing. But I think I should have mixed it. Now, that being said, maybe not, because it was a lot easier to put the post in, put the concrete around the post, and then kind of set it without water yet, kind of set it level. I mean, that really worked well. And then put your little cross beam on there so it doesn't move. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing, it looks like, so I guess it's not terrible. So I'm going to let this sit for 24 hours till tomorrow. It says it only needs 4 hours, but I'm going to give it 24, just because I'm out of time today, I guess. Now, tomorrow I'll get these set down on the ground, and if there's time, I'll start running the 2x6s across from post to post. So that'll give me my square around the porch. Now, I'm hesitant to actually show you what I'm going to do with this porch. When I built the tiny house, I took a few shortcuts that were not required. Code required them, but was not required for structural stability. People told me that the house was going to fall down after the first big snow. Well, we've had several big snows. House is still standing, so I feel pretty comfortable that I did it right. But I am going to take a shortcut here to save on time and money. The first thing I got to address is it's just a porch, and I'm putting plastic roofing on it. And so this plastic roofing isn't like real sturdy anyway, so more of a covering than a roof, I would think. What I'm going to do is, when I run my cross beams, I'm going to screw straight through this board. Let's assume this is a board. I'm going to screw straight through this board, and then that would run all the way across that beam. I'm going to put those 2 feet apart. Now, that is not the strongest way to do it. I should stick my beam on top of the beam. The reason I'm not going to, like I said, cost and money, but the most importantly is I don't have the room. The distance between the top of the door here, the overhang, isn't very much. So if I start trying to add a bunch of height to this roof, I won't have enough room. Now the thing is each screw holds 90 to 100 pounds flex weight. So before it shears, it'll shear at 100 pounds. Put 4 screws there, it's 400 pounds. So I'll put 4 screws on each side. Now you have 4 on this side and 4 on the other side. That's 800 pounds of weight it can hold. Even if I get a big snow, I think the plastic will give out before the floor joist or the ceiling joist would give out. Whatever you want to call those rafters, I guess is what they really are called. So I hesitate to show you that because I know people are going to tell me you can't do it that way, you can't do it that way, you can't do it that way. But I did it to this header here. On this door, there's a header above this, and I screwed it into the side. Does fine. I'm not too worried about 800 pounds on each board. It should be fine. If you get 800 pounds snow in a 2 feet span, you got more serious concerns than that, like getting out of your house. So I hope I can inspire you to build your dreams. Thanks for watching.